on the road of recovery.
Hi, I'm Jessica Wright, and I'm from Urbana, Ohio, and I've been in recovery for 8 years. And I am a mother today, a daughter, and a college student.
Very cool. That's a busy life. So
Yeah.
thanks for coming out and joining us. If you could start off by sharing a bit about growing up, what your childhood was like.
I grew up here in Urbana, a very small town, and I'm the youngest of 3. And my family, my mom and dad are high school sweethearts, and they're still together, and they seem to enjoy each other most of the time. And my childhood was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Summers, we just ran around the neighborhood and played with other neighborhood kids. So I am the only addict in my family.
Are you the only child?
No, I have 2 siblings. I'm the youngest of 3.
Okay.
And so for a long time that kept me really sick because I thought there's no way that I can be an alcoholic or an addict. My mom and dad are normal middle class people.
That's right. When did you first start experimenting or utilizing substances?
When I was in high school, I was introduced to alcohol.
Okay.
And I used to sneak out of my mom and dad's house every weekend and we'd go to parties. And it was just normal, typical teenage drinking,
Yeah.
I thought. Somewhere around my senior year, the alcohol turned into drugs, like cocaine.
Okay.
And then from there, I went to heroin.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So, but pretty typical.
Yes.
So, how, as a young teenager, early 20s, how are you supporting your habit? How are your relationships being impacted at that time?
So I always had a job. I was usually a server and a bartender, and I made really good money. And all of that money eventually went to my drug of choice. That's how I supported it. I was never able to really obtain anything. I was an adult child living at my parents' house, and my brother didn't speak to me for a couple of years. And I had nieces and nephews, and I wasn't allowed to be around them. And my mom and dad, that relationship kind of was a very sick relationship because I was trying to live in their house as an adult. And they're like, you can't use in our house, you know what I mean? And they're stuck in between, like, do we help her? Do we not help her? Are we enabling? Are we not enabling? And I always thought that I was only hurting myself. But my dad is a man of very few words. And I'll never forget, I was on the couch, I was very, very dope sick. And I was at their house, and he came in, he was crying. He was like, where'd my baby girl go? He was like, I don't want you to die. And then at one point, he came to me and said, you can't live here because I'm afraid I'm going to come home and find you dead. But then the last time, before I got clean and sober for good, I quit my job again to go to rehab and didn't make it. And so I had no job, no money, and I had burned all my bridges, like all the using friends that you call and they're like, hey, get me and I'll give you. And that was gone because I had burned every bridge. And I was at a point, I'll never forget it, living at my mom and dad's house as an adult. I woke up that morning and I was really, really sick. And I had no money, and I had no means of getting any. And I remember thinking, I'm going to steal from my mom and dad. That was something I had never done. And in my mind, if I did that, it was done. Like, I'm going to the bitter ends, and I'm going to be an addict for the rest of my life, and that's how I'm going out. Because if I steal from them, I'm gone. I'm leaving. You know what I mean? I'm just going to go to the streets.
Right.
And I don't know why, but I prayed. And I said, God, I can't do it. I don't remember exactly what I said. I know it was something along the lines of, I can't do this, help me. And because at that time, like, I didn't want to get high. It's like it wasn't fun anymore. The fun was gone. And I didn't want to get high, but I had to. It was like I had no other choice.
Right.
I was so physically sick, and that mental obsession. And I couldn't stop. I didn't know there was a way to stop. So I went to the only place I knew, which was a 12-step program. And that was literally the last house on the block for me. It wasn't where I wanted to go. But I didn't know where else to go facing those two options. I'm either going to kill myself or I'm going to pick back up.
Right.
So I went, and I remember there was an anniversary dinner happening, and I went, and they gave me the money and the tickets to do stuff with, and I was like, I can't believe people just gave me money. And yeah, that's how it started.
That is super cool.
I will say that my life did not change until I did 12 steps and some kind of 12-step program.
Could you talk about how your life started to change? That, like, if you could go
Sure.
back through those kind of the high points of this.
Sure. So when I first started doing recovery, not just being dry, I remember I was very, very depressed. But like, ironically, it was the most spiritually connected I've ever felt.
Yeah.
That first round of step work, doing that with another woman. It's mind-boggling. Like, I can't even put it into words, to be honest with you. And I remember all of a sudden, like, it wasn't all of a sudden. To me, it was all of a sudden. Other people saw it, but lying was no longer comfortable.
Oh, that's a big one.
Like, I no longer could sit and just lie for no apparent reason about things. I have gained a conscience, and it was a Christmas miracle for someone like me. And I'll never forget the first time that I was allowed to be around my niece and nephew, like, by myself. Like, I went to my brother's house, and there was like an ice cream shop around the block or something. And they let me walk my niece, who was like 4, there by myself.
Wow.
And they let me drive her in a car. And I took her to the dollar store and bought her a whole bunch of toys.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I'll never forget that when they let me do that.
And when other people see that you're starting to trust yourself and they're starting to trust you, like, it works.
Yes.
I mean, that's what gives you the confidence to be able to take
Yeah.
the next steps.
So much has happened in my short 8 years of recovery. I got married in recovery, and I had my first baby in recovery, and I had a second baby in recovery. But in the middle of all that, a lot of other stuff happened. I bought my first home.
Wow, that is
In my own, very own name in recovery. Because by the grace of God, I'm a contributing member of society today. And I go to work, and I show up, and I make the money instead of stealing it or pawning something. And I'm reaping the rewards of recovery. When I put the work in, like, God gives it back to me times 10 every time. And so I got married in recovery, and I had a baby in recovery, and we bought a house in recovery. And then my husband decided he didn't want to be married anymore. But before he did that, I had 2 miscarriages that resulted in surgery after my daughter. And it was absolutely devastating. And to walk into those 12-step program rooms and know that there was other women in there that had gone through this and had stayed clean and sober and didn't feel the need to pick up and get through that stuff was amazing. It was exactly what held me together at times. And my mental health took a really big toll after that. And so after those 2 miscarriages, I got pregnant again like 2 months later. And my mental health still was not well because it was only 2 months between them. And when I was pregnant with my son, I was about 3 months pregnant, my husband decided he didn't want to be married anymore. It's a coping mechanism. It's a weird coping mechanism that we pick up in addiction.
Because sometimes if we don't lie,
Yes.
we're not getting out of
Yes.
it. Yes.
So he moved out, and I had to sell my house, and me and my daughter and my soon-to-be son moved into my parents' house. And so they so graciously opened up to us, and I quit my job to be a stay-at-home mom. I had a lot of fear and anxiety around that pregnancy because of the 2 miscarriages. Right. And my job was kind of physical. So I decided that I would, I saw the way, God gave me a way, and I took the opportunity. And I withdrew some 401k, and I just started school. I'm going back to school. I start Monday.
Oh, how exciting! What are you going back to school for?
Diagnostic medical sonography.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So it's very competitive.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very challenging. And I haven't been in school in like 20 years, since high school. So it's really exciting and very scary. But I know that I can walk through it. I don't have to stay still because of fear. I can keep moving. So yeah, it's been a very big learning curve. I also have a very close network of women in recovery. Women that literally packed my house up for me and cleaned my house for me when I was pregnant and my husband left, so I could move. And like the relationships that I have made in recovery are nothing comparable to anything I ever had in active addiction. Like the relationships I have today, like I have women in my life that genuinely care about me and that I can genuinely care about.
Right.
And I didn't know that was possible for someone like me, because I was always a tough cookie. I don't care about no one. I can do it by myself, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like I need them.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna fall like if I don't have them. And like I had a lot of visitors. Being a stay-at-home mom was very like I prayed I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom so bad, and then I got it. And they always tell me, be careful what you pray for.
Right.
And being a stay-at-home mother has been the most beautiful and rewarding thing ever, but it's also been one of the most difficult things I've ever done. It is very isolating because there's no other adults that you interact with all day, sometimes days in a row. And my parents go to Florida in the winter months, so it was just me and these two kids. And my son was a newborn. And
that's tough.
it was tough. But I have a lot of good women in my life. They show up and they stay on the phone with me. And so I was never alone, even when I might have felt like, I know the feelings are facts. And truth is, like, I'm not alone. And if I am alone, it's because I choose to be alone. Like, there's no reason to say that I have to be alone. And that's what recovery has given me.
Well, you have a beautiful story of recovery and inspiring of what life can give you if you make those changes and step up. So
Yes.
So my last question then is, we all have struggles. What are those like words of hope or those cliches? What are a couple for you that when you're having a tough day that really ring truth for you?
This too shall pass, which I hated when I first got into recovery, but now I love it.
Yes.
This too shall pass. And also another thing that is comforting to me when I'm having those moments or those days or this rough life on life's terms, like I know that when I go to sleep tonight, I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and I'm going to feel different. I'm not going to feel the same tomorrow morning that I feel tonight.
Yes.
Like, those feelings are going to change. That is probably the one thing that is constant, and that is change. Change is always constant.
Absolutely. Feelings aren't facts.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you again. This has been incredible.
Yes. Thank you.